Welcome back to this series on the justice of God. What did Jesus believe about hell? When I was a young Christian growing up in the 60s and 70s, there was a theology floating around then called ultimate reconciliation. And in this theology, no one goes to hell eternally. Hell was the hard times you go through in this life. We used to call it ultimate wreck. It's resurfaced again. It's now called universalism. In America, it's called progressive Christianity. And it's reared its ugly head again. So we've got to go back to Jesus. What did Jesus really believe about hell? Well, in a nutshell, Jesus basically believed what the first century Jews believed about hell. Now, Jesus was no shrinking violet when it came to confronting Judaism about their errors. You know, he was angry about their laws and their Sabbath day laws and all these extras that they added on to the law. He confronted them about their view of divorce and so on. So he was not afraid to confront error. But one thing he never did was confront them about their view of hell. In fact, he reinforced it. So what did the first century Jews believe? Well, they believed hell was a real place, a place of punishment and retribution for the wicked after they faced God's judgment. This is what Jesus believed. Jesus believed it was a place of everlasting punishment, of lament, of outer darkness, of weeping, of anger and never-ending torment, a fiery furnace. Jesus never rejected the Jewish belief of hell. In Matthew 25, verse 33, he says this, "Serpents, brood of vipers." This is to the Pharisees at the time. "How can you escape the condemnation of hell?" Sounds like a courtroom, doesn't it? Hell is a place of judgment, and God is the just judge. In Matthew 13, verse 41 and 42, he says this. This is Jesus. "The Son of Man will send out his angels. They will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth." These are terrifying statements. But according to Jesus, it's real. Hell is a real place. So hell is not just going through a hard time in this life. Hell is a real place where many will be judged worthy to be there by the just judge himself. Now remember, as it says in Psalm 19, the judgments of the Lord are true and right. Now Jesus never asked us to work out his justice or even to understand it. He just asked us to accept what he said. You know, God is to be worshipped, not necessarily to be understood. And yet we know God reveals so much about himself. But we don't have to understand everything about God's justice and hell. We just accept what Jesus said is reality. He didn't ask us to figure it out, but just to believe what he said. So this is to be considered because this is serious stuff. If you don't know Jesus today, repent, which means to turn your mind towards him and start following him. Now, it will cost you something. It'll cost you some selfish desires and habits. But not only do you get to escape hell, you get a brand new life. You get brand new desires. You get a brand new heart. You'll want to changes. You want to worship him. Now, doesn't that sound better than hell?